y-intercept, as you know very well, comes from plugging in a 0 for x. So I get 2 minus 0 for 0 squared minus 4. 2 over negative 4 is negative 1/2. My y-intercept is the point 0, comma, negative 1/2. 0, negative 1/2. Horizontal asymptote is going to come from it being a bigger exponent on bottom. Bigger on bottom, 2 bigger than 1. Bigger on bottom means my horizontal asymptote will be 0. My horizontal asymptote, y equals 0. I factor. My numerator factors by difference of squares. And my, what did I say, numerator? Denominator factors by difference of squares. And my numerator, I see a negative in front of an x. I'm not used to that. I'm going to make it a positive by factoring out a negative 1, meaning I'll have negative 2 plus x there. Or another way to think about that would be x minus 2, positive x and negative 2, so I just rearrange that order. That's a necessary move to make because now I see what's going to cancel. After I factor, I think about my domain. My domain is everything except for 2 and negative 2. Set of x such that x is not equal to negative 2, x is not equal to 2. In interval notation, it would be everything from negative infinity up until negative 2, everything between negative 2 and 2, and unioned with everything from 2 to infinity. When I cancel, what I'm left with is just a negative 1 over x plus 2. Since something canceled, I know I'm going to have some holes. The x value of my hole is going to be whatever excluded value got canceled out. 2 and negative 2 were excluded values. After canceling, just negative 2 is an excluded value, so 2 will be the x-coordinate of a hole. The y-coordinate comes from plugging 2 into the simplified equation, plugging 2 into after canceling equation. It looks like I get negative 1/4 as the y value of my hole. 2, negative 1/4 is like here on the graph. I just draw a hole about where it's supposed to be. And then I've got vertical asymptotes to worry about. Looks like I messed up the colors. Oops, that's okay. Vertical asymptote is going to be the thing that did not cancel out. Negative 2 did not cancel out. My vertical asymptote is x equals negative 2. Finally, I do my x-intercepts. That's the zeros of the numerator after canceling. After canceling, my numerator is negative 1. There's no way that negative 1 is going to be 0. There's no x, so it's stuck at negative 1. There's going to be no x-intercept. Now I move on to throwing some graph down. To the right of my vertical asymptote, I know I must be below the horizontal asymptote. I know I must hit these points and be very close to both the other asymptotes. To the left, I'm not sure. By the way, this right piece, it shouldn't actually hit the vertical asymptote. That's just me not having a steady hand. To the left of the vertical asymptote, I'm not sure. I'm going to plug in some points. I know negative 3 will be nice to plug in, because if I plug into this version of it, I see what the denominator is going to be. Y equals negative 1 over negative 3 plus 2. We'll make negative 1 over negative 1. Apparently the point negative 3, 1 is on my graph. So my graph must look like this. My range is going to be everything from negative infinity up until here where I don't actually hit the graph, I hit the hole. That's a y value of negative 1/4. And then after negative 1/4, it's going to be everything all the way up until the horizontal asymptote, because I don't have a y value of 0. And then after that, it's everything, 0 to infinity. Just to be clear, this 0, this came from the fact that I have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. And this negative 1/4 and this negative 1/4 came from the fact that my hole has a y value of negative 1/4.